Hey friends out there in YouTube land, Rob Ham here. Today we're going to talk about the Mini Evo. Once again, this beautiful little camera right here. I'm going to share with you 5 things that I really like about this camera. Now these are things that I have discovered along the way. I'm also going to do a series about 5 things I don't like. In fact, this will be a continuing series as we go forward. But before we talk any more about that, let me just thank you for stopping by today. I appreciate you watching this content and I hope that you enjoy what we talk about. Don't forget to leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear your stories and your thoughts. And if you find any of this helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to use those Amazon links down in the doobly-doo. That will help me out quite a bit. Anything you purchase, from film to cameras to laundry detergent, I'll get a couple of pennies. With that out of the way, let's talk about this. In this series about the camera, I'm getting ready to produce and go through my roll review, just like I did for the TL70 and the Mini 90. But this camera is so different, I just kind of wanted to start off with my initial impressions, my initial preview. And many of you have already seen that video, a real great 30-minute video going into a lot of the things about the camera. But then as I got through using it, I realized that, hey, there are some things that are just solid standout features, and that's what I want to do in this series. Before I talk about that, I guess I should say, I have done a head-to-head already between the Mini 90, the TL70, and the Instax Mini Evo. That has not been published yet, but if you want to see that comparison, straight out shots on how these cameras compare to the Mini Evo, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Okay, jumping into it, 5 things I like about the Instax Mini Evo, and this is in no particular order. This is just the order that I've thought about them. And the first thing is, I think that when you start talking about the camera, you're going to notice the dials and the buttons. So number 1 is the dials and the buttons. Yeah, they're clicky, they're kind of mushy. There's some things I don't like about them, but the overall layout of this camera is really great. It's easy to use, it's fun to hold, it fits in your hand real nicely. It even fits in a medium or smallish size jacket pocket. Will not fit in your jeans pocket, and you might not want it to because this little rewind or film print lever it's not so great for that. It could break, feels a little flimsy for stuff like that, and you would be constantly turning the camera on and off. But all in all, the buttons are nice, and I like them. I've enjoyed using them. It makes the fun of using this camera just more enjoyable. Number 2, once you start diving deep into this camera, and this will be the main feature set that I'm going to talk about for the rest, you'll realize they have added some really interesting software functions to help you out. Very specifically, when you jump into this camera, you've got 2 different modes of printing. You can print rich mode, which takes a little bit longer, or you can print normal mode, which is a little bit faster. Rich mode is going to make your prints more vibrant. Imagine the saturation setting, but the vibrancy setting instead. Saturation makes all the colors look more saturated. The vibrancy setting makes the highlights and some of the stronger midtones more saturated. So if you're used to working in Lightroom, then it's almost like turning the vibrance slider up a little bit, probably 15-20%, and that is noticeable. So I enjoy those things for different reasons. If you're fair skin tone, and you know a lot about skin tones, extra vibrancy can make the reds in noses, faces, and hands pop out. If you're darker skin tone, vibrancy can give that dynamic look to that darker skin color that would normally just look flat without proper editing. And if you're in a desaturated or muted area like in the snow, a more natural look will be found using the normal print setting, and if you're at the beach, a more impressionistic setting will be used if you use the vibrant or the vivid print mode. So I just find a lot of use for that. Portraits, I think, once again, are best with the ones I stated just before. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Moving on to number 3. Number 3 is actually the print brightness. So we talked about vibrancy and how you print, but when you print on here, you can actually choose to brighten the image. Now, again, this takes back to Lightroom. That's not here, that's Premiere Pro. I had to make this video while working on that video because I just can't keep my mind off of this little camera. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. But when you get to the print brightness, you'll find a calibration screen on your print screen in Lightroom that allows you to calibrate your printer. Now, you can download all the different color profiles. You can do what you want to do, but this camera has it built in, which is really nice. Now, I'm not sure if the other cameras that are the hybrid cameras from Fujifilm have it built in. I think that an update just came to the LaPlay, which gives it a print brightness calibration, which gives it some of the features, but it does not have it on board on the camera. Having that print brightness is great. You can go from the standard print, which is they consider it level 1, but it's really standard. You can go a half step brighter and then another half step brighter. So you can go a total of 200% bright, right? From what this is, what the picture was taken. This is very helpful when you want to bring out details or make sure that you're keeping whites white, like snow. Cameras sometimes can make that look a little gray, so the print brightness can help there. My book keeps falling off my leg, but that's okay. I'm going to also say, going back to, this is going to be the theme, this is number 4 we're talking about. This camera has a lot of filters and lens effects built into it. Most of them are useful. Canvas is ridiculous if you ask. I don't see any reason that canvas would be good, and I have yet to encounter double exposure in an actual analog way, like on the TL70 or the Mini 90. It just looks different. And don't worry, like I said, we're dropping a video with all of that, so we'll talk about that. So I don't think that they're very interesting, and I don't think that all of the filter effects, like the color effects, are very helpful. But most of them are. I particularly like black and white with vignette. I really don't like the half frame, like the Olympus Pen cameras from back in the day, the half frame cameras. They apply a filter to the half frame instead of just giving you a nice half frame image. And it's a lo-fi filter, so it makes everything look like it's a hazy matte. It's like added a faded film effect. That irritates me and you can't turn it off. That should be a lens effect rather than, or that should be a filter effect rather than a lens effect. The point here is, though, you've got 10 of each. So that's 10 times 10 is 100 different ways to express yourself, which is how Fujifilm talks about this camera. If you think those are gimmicks, I would say you are wrong, because I'm beginning to understand one secret thing that Fujifilm didn't talk about that you get to discover when using the camera. And that's going to be my number 5, my top 5 for today. Fujifilm built this camera with these internal lens effects and everything else specifically to be similar to Lightroom built into the camera. Now, that's a big step. I'm not including the sliders. It would have been nice if they gave us curves adjustments and things like that. That's coming in another video. Don't worry, I'll talk to you about that. But with these different filters and effects, you really have a lot of creativity at your disposal. And it's exciting. I mean, it really is exciting to use it that way. Originally, I thought just the normal lens would be fine and I would just add filters after the fact. But then when I started using the camera and realized that wasn't an option, it kind of irritated me. I'm like, it's a digital sensor. I should be able to use whatever I want. But then I realized what Fujifilm has done with that particular aspect of the camera. And maybe it was unintentional, right? Maybe it's due to a limitation of the camera, but it created something special. One of the reasons I love using the TL70, not only because it's a fantastic camera and provides a beautiful, warm, bright image, not very contrasty, like in a medium contrast or lower contrast image, with lots of detail and a sharp 3-element lens that you can actually focus. This focuses too. This zone focuses. But the color is absolutely gorgeous, right? But it's one of a kind. You make it, you take it, that's it. You don't get that image again. Well, this is a digital camera, right? So you can print that image over and over and over. So the limitation built in here is that because you can't apply the filter effect on the camera after you've taken the image, that is the one and done image. Now, you may be able to print it 20 times, but if you take some pictures of the horses in black and white monochrome and you get down the street and you want to check it out in sepia or natural, guess what? That's it. You can't. So take all the pictures you want and all the different film effects that you want and the lens filters that you want, and then choose the ones that you want to print. Hey, that's kind of exciting. And it's one of the reasons I like this camera. I'm going to say it once again. Fujifilm has built with this camera and the lens effects. They've tested the water, they're tiptoeing in the water of adding Lightroom-esque features, not the full Lightroom, but they're giving you Lightroom-styled filter creativity. This is more than a Snapchat filter that's built into here. Although I suppose you could equate it to something similar to that. I just think it goes a step beyond. Now, if you thought this was interesting and you're fanboying on this, you love it, then you will not want to see the 5 things I don't like, or the most aggravating or not useful things about this camera. But if you're like me and you want to be open-minded about it, or if you just want to check out what I have to say, go ahead and check that other video out. It's going to drop here shortly. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If any of this was helpful, please use the Amazon links down below. And as always, bye for now.